were either not true or they were telling us the truth, but in a way to make you believe something other than what actually happened.
Yeah.
And so a couple years ago, I started writing Thoughts from Asylum Substack just because I wanted to try to spark a conversation amongst people where I could say, hey, this is what I think, and here's all the links for why I think it, and maybe help other people make sense of this. I mean, madness, because it seems like every day you got to trust more on God because the world is more and more and more crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely, and I think with that reared its ugly head really, and well, it was before that, but COVID, when the pandemic happened, you could just it seemed like fear was big business, like putting fear into the society was like real big business, man. And there's still people today that's telling me, well, if you don't wear a mask, you're gonna die, and um, everybody's getting a lot of people getting persecuted for not wearing a mask, and it's a bunch of lies. And I remember when, Donald Trump, President Trump, became the president, and then he was doing this like fake news, and brung he kind of put that spark in people's brain, in the regular society. Not people like you, because you was already on that, but he kind of put that on people's mind that the media was fake. And when you actually look at it, they are, they put out a lot of lies. So uh, I really enjoy your reading.
Uh,
Yeah.
Actually, the COVID masking is what prompted my earliest post and what put me over the edge to start writing
Mm-hmm.
because I was seeing this and I knew that, masks are great for stopping bacterial infections because bacteria are relatively large, but everything I'd ever heard was that masks really didn't do anything for viruses because they were so little. And so I got to looking, and in the just going back 10 years from 2020, so from 2010 to 2020, there had been 16 double blind peer reviewed studies. Three of them were hospitals trying to save money on masks, trying to determine whether cloth masks were of any benefit. And every single one of them found out that they weren't. And every single one of them found that and they all had a little bit different percentage, but it actually increased your chances of infection by up to 40%. And that was all known. It was all published science. And one of my very first papers, I included all the links to the studies, and they even found that N95 masks without a clean suit were ineffective against viruses.
Wow.
Um, because most of the studies concluded that when you're wearing a thing on your face,
Yeah.
you're taking the dirtiest part of your body, your hands, and constantly touching your face and fidgeting with it. And so not only does it not prohibit air particulate matter, 90 some odd percent makes it through the mask, but you keep putting more nasty bugs on your face by just the mask.
Right.
And they knew that. They knew this from the beginning. And now you got just this last week, you got Fauci in front of Congress saying, well, yeah, I knew they didn't work. Then why
Yeah.
did you try to force everybody to do it?
Right. Yeah. And because he didn't really wear a mask like that, and so because he got caught at the Washington Nationals game. So the masking thing was just the craziest thing. And then I seen people walking by themselves in the parking lot to their car with a mask on, with like absolutely nobody around them for like 30 feet. And they was walking by themselves with a mask on. People driving by themselves with a mask on. I just
It's a spirit of fear.
yeah. I just don't.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
and the other interesting thing is in Dr. Fauci's emails that were released right at the beginning of the pandemic, he was telling his friends that, oh, masks don't work, don't bother wearing one. In 2020, he was emailing his close personal associates when they asked him about masks that.
Right.
So You know, um, that was really what put me over the edge to start publishing. And I try to go to original sources as much as possible, the actual scientific study, the actual person who wrote the paper or the book, um, as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And when I can't do that, I'll go to other reporting on something. But the other thing that drives me crazy and actually caused me to do this is you're not allowed to talk about things. You can't have an honest conversation about a lot of different topics in this country anymore.
Nope.
And,
Cancel
you
culture.
know, if like with masks, if you say, hey, you know what, there's these scientific studies, it doesn't look like they really work. Oh, you're a conspiracy, and you get shouted down.
Yeah.
You can't be reasonable and polite and say, hey, I think there's something wrong. And I think that's where a lot of people will say, oh, it's a cult like mindset because you're not allowed to disagree anymore.
Right. You can't even
So,
have a conversation.
no. And that's another reason why I started the asylum was because I wanted to write about things you're not allowed to talk about.
Well, I love it. I love it, and that's the reason why I joined Blexit. Blexit is powered by Turning Point USA. It was started by Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, and I started following Charlie Kirk a lot and watching his videos because of the fact that he's willing to have a conversation with people he disagrees with, and so that's one of the reasons I love Turning Point USA, and I also love your writing because it gets people to think outside the box. Uh, the the elitists and the government, they don't want us to think outside the box. Okay, so the more we think, and the more people think outside the box, the more clear you will be able to see things. And so, but what is your stance on Israel and Hamas?
Well, so um, honestly, if the Jews had done what God told them to do 2,000 years ago, this wouldn't be an issue. But
Preach.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
but they didn't. And so these two groups of people have been fighting since bronze was the weapon of choice.
yeah,
And, you know, peace is nice and it'd be wonderful. But sadly, I just don't think that that's going to be possible so long as they both want to live in the same area.
yeah,
I just don't. Unfortunately, Hamas is, you know, Islam, and that is a religion directly opposed to God, and therefore it's opposed to God's people, which the Israels like still are.
yeah.
Um, Fortunately, through Christ's sacrifice, we've all been sort of initiated into the family, but um, yeah, I so far as religiously, that's what I think. Politically, it's like anything else. Ukraine, Taiwan.
Mm.
I don't think America should spend its blood and treasure there.
I
Um,
don't either.
you know,
Well,
you know,
I believe that. I mean, maybe I think. So, do you agree with sending the equipment and the weapons? I kind of agree with that, but because we're not using them. But as long as it doesn't affect our readiness, I agree with that. But I guess that's actually helping the war. Like if we're sending 777s and 155s and all and like artillery and stuff, that's actually helping Israel bomb Gaza or whatever. But um, so, what do you think about sending equipment there? Now, I don't agree with sending money. No, I don't like that at all.
I don't. Well, equipment is money. I mean,
Yeah,
it's we don't get it for free to send it to them. Um, it and when they vote on however many billions to send in aid to whatever country, they're not typically. I mean, I'm sure some of it's cash, but
yeah,
most of that money is in bullets and bombs and whatnot. And the real problem is if you look at the records, sure, we're sending Israel, artillery and weapons and stuff, but we're sending almost as much stuff in humanitarian aid that I guarantee you winds up in the hands of Hamas
it
to
does.
Palestine,
Yeah,
food and fuel and tents and whatnot. And it's a horrible situation, but our involvement doesn't make it any better or worse either way, and it makes it worse for us. So I guess my opinion politically is America should just mind its own business and stop spending blood and treasure all over the world. Period. If it, because our border is bad enough, we can't. We're being invaded, and we're worried about everybody else's borders.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I've been on the record a bunch of times saying I don't like that because I agreed with Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Johnson about look, let's take care of the border first and for the spending package and uh, take like if you're gonna do this to me what I seen was the more money went to Ukraine and Israel than the border. So I think that should be flip flop. You said you do like 70% of the border and then like 30% Ukraine and Israel if you want to. But even though I don't like the 30%, but more money needs to be going to the southern border, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
that's fair. Um, I would, given my way, we wouldn't spend any money on foreign aid or foreign support or anything, especially not while we got so many things here,
Yeah,
and we're 30 some odd $1 trillion in debt. When I mean, when as an entity you have more debt than you you have this much debt that like half or more of the money you take in is just servicing your debt.
yeah,
You need to start worrying about getting rid of that
right.
before you worry about what else you're going to buy.
How does the United this one thing I've always wondered how does the United States pay back money that they owe? So we're in debt to other countries, right? When you say we're in
Well,
debt,
in theory, they buy back bonds.
okay,
Uh, in theory, they'll buy back their bonds. Um, and in a perfect world, they do that without printing extra money to make it happen. Because since 1971, and it started before that, but that was the final nail in the coffin. The the government's financial policy has been completely out of control. I'm sure you've heard, and it's been a big thing amongst the millennials and the Gen Zers, is they'll talk about how the median family income hasn't gone up since the 70s, and they wonder why that is.
yeah,
And I'm sure you've heard that before. Well, it's because on August 15th, 1971, President Nixon completely severed the dollar from gold. Prior to that, all the U.S. bonds we sold to foreign countries had to be paid back in gold. And if they had to pay them back in gold, we could only print so many bonds and borrow so much money, and we were limited. Since then, when he said, nope, we're going to pay you back in U.S. dollars, it essentially means that uh, we're going to borrow from you, and instead of giving you something of actual physical value, we're just going to print more money and give it back to you. Um, and that's
mm,
why from 1976, the year I was born, to today, the
yeah,
median household income has actually gone down when adjusted for inflation. And you got to consider that's against the household income with one worker, and it's actually gone down with household income of two workers
mm,
because because in a hard currency economy, every coin that's minted or every dollar that's added to the system is actually physically making the pie of wealth of what people can have bigger. Okay, because the guy goes and mines his gold and silver and adds more material to the total pot, and then it gets minted, turned into coin, or gets turned into jewelry or electronics or whatever. But ultimately, there's more goods to go around with the mining of that metal. Okay,
yeah,
well, with a fiat currency, oh, the banks are failing and this and that, and the economy's shrinking. The pie's getting smaller. Well, in a fiat currency, they can just print more dollars into that shrinking economy. So you wind up with more dollars chasing fewer goods and services, which drives the price of goods and services up. Um, and the worst part about it is the banks and the billionaires get the money first, okay, and they get to spend it before it's devalued.
yes, yeah, yeah, they do.
So they get full value, and by the time it gets to you or me, you can get 75 or 80 cents worth of what it would have bought a month or 6 months before. That's
Yeah.
how they continuously. That's why the middle class is shrinking. That's how they continuously rob from people without actually robbing from people because it's relatively slow. Um, I think they bit off a little more than they could chew recently because I can show you with online Walmart receipts how milk, the Walmart brand milk, is up 48% from 2020. The bread is up 60% from 2020. And everything is similarly, and they jacked it up too fast and made it way too painful. But ultimately, inflation, and I guess Dr. Ron Paul, uh, who's a great man, by the way,
Yeah, he is. I love
really,
him. Yeah.
really harped on this his entire career, and his son does now. It is they steal way more from you through inflation than they do from taxes. Um, but it's because they can print money at will, and it when you have infinite dollars chasing a finite amount of goods and services, the providers of goods and services ultimately want more dollars for those goods and services.
Right. So I see a lot of these commercials about gold, buying gold. So does that have something to that has something to do with what you're saying, right?
The mining of gold.
No, like buying gold, like purchasing.
Oh, buying gold,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Now, typically, gold and silver, bullion coins. I mean, sure they go up in value, but really what it is the dollar goes down in value relative to them.
yeah,
Because if you look historically, 16th of an ounce of gold would buy like a barrel of oil. Well, even at 2 grand an ounce, right around the 16th ounce of gold will buy you a barrel of oil today. Um, ounce of gold buy a fancy suit, ounce of gold buy a fancy suit today. Um, but yeah, it preserves your wealth. Recently, I read an article about families in Europe that have had generational wealth, like 800, 900 years, wealth that survived World War I and World War II, wealth that survived even medieval wars. And they were asking them, "How does your family maintain its wealth?" And their answers was a third of it, and a third of our wealth goes into land, a third of our wealth goes into gold and silver, and a third of our wealth goes into art and the stock market and spending and living. And as long as we do that, we could lose any one third and still be phenomenally wealthy.
wow. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And they all specifically warned against worrying about any individual nation state currency because it doesn't matter whether it's a U.S. gold eagle or Canadian maple or a British sovereign. If it's gold or silver, an ounce of gold or silver is always going to be worth something. It has been for 5 or 6 thousand years. Um, if only because it's shiny and pretty and people like to make bracelets out of it. Um, but in modern times, there's electronics and other things, but it is the only thing that has been people would be willing to trade stuff for millennia.
yeah. Yeah, that's. I hope people are really paying attention. You putting a lot of information out there that people really don't understand and know. Do you you should teach? Are you a college professor, man? You should be a college professor and like actually teach this.
No, I'm just an IT professional and have been for 30, almost 30 years, and
Yeah,
little data analysis and whatnot, and it's what I do.
right. So when it comes to the economy, and you talked about the middle class's salaries and what families bring home. Uh, I got a friend. He thinks that raising the minimum wage to $25 across the board will fix poverty, will fix the economy. What would raising the minimum wage for $25? Now that's different in Oklahoma City, in Oklahoma, than it is in California. So I guess if you raise it to $25 in Oklahoma, you would have to raise it, I don't know, $30 in California. But I think I'm under the impression of if you raise the minimum wage, it's just going to continue to raise because of greed and supply and demand. People, it's just going to keep raising. But what do you think about making a minimum wage $25?
Okay, so The truth is the real minimum wage is $0 an hour. Okay,
Okay.
and um, if you make a minimum wage of $25 an hour, a few things are going to happen. Automation is going to increase
Yeah.
because you know prices are going to increase, and so ultimately it's a zero sum game. The higher minimum wage is, the more things are going to cost, and the more minimum wage you're going to need. It's another case of infinite fiat currency, or infinite dollars chasing finite goods. Um, so not only will raising the minimum wage increase prices, because whatever McDonald's or Hardee's or Walmart or whoever, they have to make a certain margin. Okay, after all
Yeah.
their expenses, they got to make a certain percentage of money.
Yeah.
And if you raise their cost of employment, they either have to raise all their prices to still hit their percentage, their margin. And with like grocery stores, it's like 3 or 4% now, and fast food places, it's only like 5 or 10% with the current wages. So anytime you make an input, be it materials or labor or whatever, go up, well, the price of that product's going to go up as well. And you do it across the board, then your minimum wage raise all of a sudden isn't enough.
Yeah.
The other solution, if the company doesn't believe that they can raise their prices enough to totally compensate for the minimum wage, um, is automation. And currently, I read an article the other day. Walmart, or not Walmart, McDonald's is planning to completely automate its California stores.
Mm.
Um, and Seattle, first in the nation, $15 minimum wage. Uh, in the first 24 months, lost 10,000 restaurant jobs. They just went
Gosh.
away. Um, and the places that could afford it just closed their Seattle location and moved outside city limits to a suburb or somewhere where minimum wage was still lower. Because small businesses and whatnot, they just can't do it.
Yeah. Uh, uh, so one thing that my my buddy said is, well, if because I did say that to him. I said, well, small businesses, they wouldn't be able to do that. Well, the government can subsidize small businesses and just give them some money and whatever they're lacking. And so, and I don't know how that. I don't think that would work for the government to do that, based off how they uh, vote on like what they put in these bills, because they're not just putting one issue in the bill; they're putting all these other stuff in the bill. So I don't think the government would do that. But you think that's something that the government could do, like subsidize a small business if they can't pay the minimum
I
wage?
mean, they could, but that would mean that either they go into more debt or they raise taxes, or because that money's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah, yeah,
And you have things like California's new, what was it, $25 minimum wage for fast food, $20 for fast food. It was $20 for fast food. Um, well, Gavin Newsom's good friends with the head of Panera Bread, so the law got an exception that if you sell fresh baked bread, then you're exempt from this law. So now Panera Bread doesn't have to pay $20 an hour, but everybody else does, um, which
dang,
which is insane to me.
yeah,
Um, and there'll be more exceptions, or you're going to find that all of a sudden McDonald's carries fresh baked bread in California. I mean, you'll find things like that, but no,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I just want to get your your answer on that, but
yeah,
I don't think it'll work. I
minimum
think
wage
greed will kill it,
destroys jobs.
huh?
Minimum wage destroys jobs. They either get replaced by automation, or employer decides he really doesn't need them done, or he'll take an employee that is worth however much he's paying them and say, "Oh, by the way, you got to sweep the floors and take out the trash now too."
Yeah, yeah. It's just the. I mean, that's why I just love the capitalism, because it creates competition, right? If you want to make a certain amount, then go make that certain amount. If the corporation that you're working for or want to work for is not paying that, then go to a different one, and it's that other business's loss. So, but because that's what they want to pay. But let's go back to before we get out of here. Let's go back to the southern border. Um, President Biden came out with executive order, and basically, to me, it's him fixing what he messed up in the first place in the beginning, where he made it, where he took away remain in Mexico. Um, I think that he stopped the wall being built. So I think it's because election seasons as well. The immigration I seen on Gallup's poll, immigration is number 2 on people's minds as far as voters that are registered. So it's all about, to me, it's all about votes. But how is that? How is his executive order going to fix the problem at all?
I
In your mind?
probably won't, because he spent. So this is a desperation move. Look, I'm doing something because he's being very badly beaten in almost all the polls, and it's getting worse.
Yeah,
Um, Essentially, day one, he came into office, and anything Trump did, he undid just because Trump did it. He didn't think about whether it was a good idea or not.
yeah,
Um, and so he made this mess at the border, but he's been gutting Border Patrol, he's been gutting border security, been undoing things for 3 or 4 years. So, or for 3 years now. So just because he makes an executive order to fix things, even if it even if it could make things perfect when fully carried out, there's really not enough time between now and the election for them to make a significant difference in totally changing course. You're in the military. I'm in the military. The federal police don't work significantly different. They can say, okay, oh wait, we're doing wrong. We got to change. But for a whole unit or a whole organization to make that change, you can't do it in 2 or 3 months if it's 180 degrees out from where you were going in the first place.
no, no, you can't. And I don't. I have a strong opinion on the border. My first deployment was in Kuwait, defending the Iraqi and Kuwait border, and so I've seen it done. I seen a border being like secured, like literally seeing
Mm-hmm.
it being secured. So I have no earthly idea why in the United States we would have an issue with all the assets we have of somebody sneaking in to the country. It just doesn't make any sense. So, but
I think you know I think of a number of different reasons why. I don't know that I have enough data to say I believe any one of them,
yeah,
but and some of them even get pretty deep into tinfoil hat land. But you know,
yeah,
it's not about migrant workers. I think there are some on the left that really believe if they can get enough of these people over and find a way to get them to vote, they can have a permanent voting block. Um, but what really worries me is that all the reports from the border, more than 2/3 of the people crossing aren't South American. They're Africans, Chinese, and Middle Easterns. More than South Americans are crossing now, which is disturbing because A, how'd they get over here to walk up South America to cross the border?
yeah,
And we've never had these three particular nationalities in large numbers coming to the southern border. And you look at the NGOs, the non-governmental organizations, and I've written extensively about it, and you find out that they're recruiting people saying, hey, it's better in America, and funding their trip to the border. And then you find out the government's funding the NGOs, and you got to wonder why.
yeah. I mean, that's scary. That's
Yeah.
that's scary, man.
But I don't have enough data to really specifically say. I mean, I can guess, but that doesn't do anybody any good. And I don't have enough data to say why. I can say they are, and I can prove they are with their own publications and um, journalists from South America interviewing them and things like that. But as to why, but I don't think it's anything good.
Yeah. Well, uh, hopefully, identity politics doesn't win. Because Democrats, they use that very well. I mean, I have to give them their props. They use identity politics, so hopefully identity politics doesn't win and President Trump gets back in office, and then we can build the wall all the way across the southern border the way it's supposed to be, and that'll kind of help fix the problem. But you still got to find, like, if they're like getting through tunnels and stuff. That's, I mean, I don't. we still have to find that stuff, but hopefully President Trump gets back in there and we can actually get control of it a lot better. But go ahead and tell it before we get out of here, man. Go ahead and tell everybody how they can find your writing and how they can support you.
You can subscribe to my newsletter. It's thoughtsfromtheasylum.substack.com. And we'd love to have you there. Love to see you join us. First 2 weeks are free for all new subscribers. And even if you want to stay a free subscriber, everything over 60 days old is available. And about a third of the posts are published to everybody, whether they're paying or not. So I'd really like to have folks join the conversation.
Yeah, most definitely, because I read it from time to time, and it's always mind-blowing to read that. And Sam, I got to bring you back on soon, because I definitely want to talk about stuff about what these parents at the school meetings talking about, the books that are in the library that the kids are bringing home. I do want to talk about that because I remember that one article you wrote where you had stuff in there about that, and some people think that's actually not a problem, and it is. It's definitely a problem.
That's a problem.
Yes. So, Sam, thank you for coming on, brother.
All right, thank you. God bless you, man. I'll see you later.
All right, you have a great day.
Yep, bye.
All right, so that was Mr. Sam Brunson from Thoughts of Asylum. If you have not downloaded the app, the Substack app, get the app. It is great. Think outside the box, man. People really need to learn how to think outside the box, and it's crazy how much the society doesn't think outside the box. Like, people are scared to say what's on their mind. Don't be afraid to say what's on your mind. There's no reason to be afraid to say what's on your mind. There's things that's going on that just don't make any sense, and just because you're asking questions doesn't mean you have a tinfoil hat or anything like that. But don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. This is the LJeh Show.
I can't help it, trying to hide this. It's just impossible. I won't deny it. I'm falling so fast with you, it's unstoppable. Love so exquisite, how could I hide it? Taking me over, drawing me closer. Drawn to you, you are every hope and dream. The spark in me, you light me up like kerosene. There's no way that I could hide a love so bright. You light me up like kerosene. Light me up like I won't fight it. Don't wanna break this fever inside of me. I feel it rising, feeling ignited, willingly overcome. Love so exquisite, how could I hide it? Taking me over, drawing me closer. Drawn to you, you are every hope and dream. The spark in me, you light me up like kerosene. There's no way that I could hide a love so bright. You light me up like kerosene. I couldn't hide this flame inside even if I wanted to. I couldn't hide this flame inside even if I wanted to. Love so exquisite, how could I hide it? Taking me over, drawing me closer. Drawn to your face. You are every hope and dream. The spark in me, you light me up like kerosene. There's no way that I could hide. love had drawn me closer.
Buffalo. Buffalo. Buffalo.
The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
KLRJ Jam OKC 86 Radio.
I'm Jeremy House in Washington. World War II veterans joined heads of state and others today on the beaches of Normandy to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Britain's King Charles III says as the years pass and the number of D-Day veterans dwindle, we're obligated to remember in gratitude to those who served.
We recall the lesson that comes to us again and again across the decades. Free nations must stand together to oppose tyranny.
President Biden earlier met with American veterans of D-Day as he marked the invasion's 80th anniversary. Also on SRNews.com, jurors in Hunter Biden's criminal trial got a look at the gun he bought in October of 2018. They saw the firearms transaction record at the center of the case. The prosecution is expected to continue presenting its case today. Some controversial comments from Russia's President Vladimir Putin.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned that Russia could provide long-range weapons to others to strike Western targets. Speaking to international journalists, Putin's comments were in response to NATO allies allowing Ukraine to use their arms to attack Russian territory. Putin also reaffirmed Moscow's readiness to use nuclear weapons if it sees a threat to its sovereignty. The Russian leader said the recent actions of the West could lead to what he called very serious problems. The United States and Germany recently authorized Ukraine to hit some targets on Russian soil with the long-range weapons they are supplying to Kiev. I'm Karen Shamas.
Polls have opened in the Netherlands to kick off 4 days of voting in European Union parliamentary elections across the 27 member states. On Wall Street, Dow futures are off by 12 points. This is SRN News. India's election results are in.
And they show another victory for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Hindu Nationalist Party. However, the BJP won less votes than in the past and does not have an outright majority. What does this mean for India's persecuted Christians? Possibly a little less pressure. It appears that the country is becoming disenchanted with the Hindu nationalist agenda, which might translate into less extremism. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
Senate Democrats are making a renewed push to show their support for ensuring nationwide access to in vitro fertilization. Senator Tammy Duckworth is the author of a bill that's part of an election year effort to spotlight some Republican resistance to the fertility procedure. The Right to IVF Act would make it more accessible through insurance, as well as for military members and veterans. The measure is not expected to gain the bipartisan support that would be necessary to pass Congress. This is SRN News. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin has announced that the Commonwealth is ending its imposition of California's electric vehicle mandates when they expire at the end of this year.
Virginia's Attorney General said California's newest mandates are not legally binding on the state. Governor Glenn Youngkin announced an end to the government interference.
Celebrate decision freedom. Today we're going to celebrate economic freedom. Today we're going to celebrate being free from California electric vehicle mandates. And today, very simply, we are going to make sure that all Virginians know you get to decide what car you want to drive.
Virginia will instead follow federal emission standards. Anne Marie Morgan reporting.
A toddler has been killed and his mother injured when a tornado struck suburban Detroit without warning. Officials in Livonia, Michigan say the tornado tore through several neighborhoods. More details at srnews.com.
Thanks for all the times you left. Me wondering if I should forget every dream I second guessed. The doubts you put inside my head made me feel so defeated. Reply, but then I deleted.
Okay, but last time I checked, the story isn't over yet.
I'm just trying to be real. Easier said than done. Dear haters, keep on hating, I'll keep having fun. Sticks and stones, yeah, try to break me, I bet you won't. Naysayers got me saying nah, nah, nah. Thank you for the heartbreaks, high stakes. Feeling the weight, I'm riding the wave of heartbreak, mistakes. So I wanna tell ya, thanks for all the times you told me I'd never make it. Every word was new motivation. Love you all the same. Thank you for the hate. Thank you for the hate. Thank you for the comments that you leave online, telling me I'm not that guy. Just don't quit your day job yet. Maybe you should get a life. Each one gave me a reason to fight for what I believe in. Sorry, but I just don't care. There's way too many fakes out there. I'm just trying to be real. Easier said than done. Dear haters, keep on hating. Nah, thank you for the heart race, high stakes. Feeling the weight, I'm riding the wave of heartbreak, mistakes. So I wanna tell ya, thanks for all the times you told me I'd never make it. Every word was new motivation. Love you all the same. Thank you for the hate. 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 Thank you for the heart race, high stakes. Feeling the weight, I'm riding the wave of heartbreak, mistakes. So I wanna tell ya, thanks for all the times you told me I'd never make it. Every word was new motivation. Love you all the same. So thank you for the hate. Thank you for the hate. Thank you for the times you told me I'd never make it. Every word was new motivation. Love you all the same. So thank you for the I just wanna see you smile. Just wanna see you smile, yeah. You know you deserve to smile. So none of them still smile, yeah. I just wanna see you win. Wanna see you on the road, yeah. It don't matter where you been, or the way you tryna go, yeah. So let them see you smile. I love when I see you smile.
America, Joe.
I just wanna see you smile. You've been through what you've been through. No dream you can't pretend to. Come through, ain't no issue. Missing you like the room up. At the night like the moon up. Spread your life like a rumor. You the star, ain't nothing lunar. Life is hard, but it's getting better. We are home, but the scars, they not here forever. the W. Escape away so that nothing can trouble you. Two sides of the corners in front of you. Let me show you.
Just wanna see you smile. Just wanna see you smile, yeah. You know you deserve the smile. So now that I'm still smiling, I just wanna see you win. Wanna see you on the pro, yeah. It don't matter where you been, only way you try to go, yeah. So let them see you smile. I love when I see you smile, yeah.
Let me make it better, let me help you out. Hard for you to care when they left you out. I can tell you more that you need to know. Gotta find a smile when you feeling low. You know that we know. You know you need more. Honest, I'm with it. Some days I might miss it. Take two like a free throw. Feel like I'm done with the old path. God got it covered the whole time. Yeah, I cannot go back. Yeah, you know the facts. Yeah, you need to smile. Yeah, you need to smile. I love the way you smile when I see you smile. You need to win, so just tell me when. Just hit me up and you know that I'm coming through. Two sides of the corners in front of you. Let me show you.
Just wanna see you smile. Just wanna see you smile, yeah. You know you deserve the smile. So now that I'm still smiling, yeah. I just wanna see you win. Wanna see you on the pro, yeah. It don't matter where you been, only way you try to go, yeah. So let them see you smile. I love when I see you smile, yeah. See you smile. I love when I see you smile. I love when I see you smile. Hate when I see you down. Love when I see you smile. Love when I see you smile. Love when I see you smile. Never wanna see you down. Love when I see you smile.
Let's go!
The station that keeps it rocking 24/7.
Ladies and gentlemen,
LJeh Jam OKC 86 Radio.
Back here on the LJ Show. The LJ Johnson Morning Show. The LJ Show at gmail.com. That's how you can get in touch with us. Leave us your prayer requests. Leave us any comments that you want to have on the show. Also on Facebook Live. We go Facebook Live. Also, the show is on YouTube as well. So leave your comments there. I did make a promise to you guys that I will have the text line number. And here it is, 405-267-3905. 405-267-3905. That is a text line if you want to send us a text. Any of the shows. So that's the same text line for every show all day. At 2 p.m., we're going to be kicking off our news a news show. So it will be the Oklahoma Artist Spotlight. So all the artists in Oklahoma City, Lawton, Tulsa, wherever in Oklahoma, we will be basically playing Oklahoma-owned music. Okay, independent artists, just promoting those artists, and so from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. that hour, Monday through Friday, you can come on here. You can download the app, please. Download the app. It's much easier to listen to the station if you can download the app. Listening from the app. So 2 p.m. we will be highlighting the artists that are in Oklahoma, playing their music, getting their stories out, letting them get their stories out through their music. And so if you know of any artist that has some great music, has radio ready music, please send it to us. The LJ, not the jamokc86 at gmail.com. jamokc86 at gmail.com. So, what did Byron Donald say? What did he say? What'd you say, Byron? What'd you say? I tried to bring that what's that? Medea's movie when she said Byron. I tried to bring that clip up. I couldn't find it. Well, I could find it, but it was all jumbled. But so here's the article here from NBC News. Byron Donalds says something about Jim Crow, basically saying that they're saying that he said the black people were doing better under Jim Crow. And so let's see what he said. Black families were doing better. So Trump surrogate Byron Donald harkens back to Jim Crow era. Bring my other deal up here. Okay. Jim Crow era when the black family was together. Okay. Let me make this larger for you guys so you can see it better. I want you guys to see real good on Facebook. Okay, Washington Representative Byron Donalds, speaking Tuesday at a black voter outreach event for former President Donald Trump, suggested that that's the first problem. That's the number one problem. Actually, that's the number one problem. He was trying to get black voters. Anytime a Republican or a conservative, whether black or white, Hispanic, Asian, are doing something to get black voters, that's just the ultimate sin. It's the ultimate sin. Anytime we're trying to get black people to think outside the box and think for themselves, that's the ultimate sin. Okay? You better not be doing that. What did Kamala Harris tell Charlemagne the fraud? What did she tell him when he was asking who's actually running the country? Is it Joe Manchin or is it Joe Biden? She said, "Don't you be acting like no Republican now." I mean, I'll pull up the clip. She told that to this man on his show. Like, what does that even mean? Just because I asked you a question you didn't like? But suggested that so Donald Trump suggested that black families, Byron Donald suggested that black families were more unified and better off during the Jim Crow era, sparking immediate backlash from top black Democrat officials. Now, I'm pretty sure this is something they probably was waiting on. Like, give us something. Give us something to talk about. Right? So it moves on. It reads on. At the Philadelphia campaign event, Donalds, a Florida Republican like Trump, suggested that things had gotten worse for black people after they embraced Democrats following President Lyndon B. Johnson's enactment of Great Society programs in the 1960s, including an expansion of federal food stamps. Federal food stamps, housing, welfare, and Medicaid for the low-income Americans. Okay, so here's Byron Donalds. You see, during the Jim Crow, this is what it said. During Jim Crow, the black family was together. During Jim Crow, more black people were not just conservative. Black people have always been conservative-minded, but more black people voted conservatively. Donalds, one of Trump's top allies in Congress, and a camp surrogate, said in remarks first reported by the Philadelphia Inquirer. So I got a lot of good friends up there in Blexit from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area. And I wonder what they think about that. And then HEW, Lyndon Johnson, you go down that road, and now we are where we are. He said, in reference to what was then Department of Education and Welfare, and leading up to those remarks, Donald said, what did it say? Donald said he had more recently seen the reinvigoration of black families. Hold on just a second. Respond to a text. My 5-year-old daughter's trying to call me on her tablet, on her Amazon tablet. Okay. Seeing the reinvigoration of black families, what he described as younger people forming nuclear family units, that is helping to breathe the revival of a black middle class in America, the Inquirer said. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat from New York, the highest ranking African American in Congress, took to the House floor Wednesday and delivered a blistering speech giving numerous examples of how black people had suffered under racial segregation, which we all know we did suffer under Jim Crow. It has come to, I mean, this building that I'm in right now is old enough to be Jim Crow era. So I think it is. This used to be a newspaper facility where they were making the newspapers, and because there's like combines here. So I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been invited when this building was just built. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been invited. And you know, I graduated from the University of Oklahoma as well. And there's some statues up there like Carl Albert and Boyd. I think, yeah. They probably, and there was another guy. I think Boyd. They probably would have been looking at me like, boy, what you doing here? Because they were back in like the 30s, I think. That's what I was thinking when I was at OU. I was thinking, what would they be thinking now, seeing me walk across campus? But it didn't stop me from doing anything. I still got my degree. I still did what I had to do to be a commissioned officer and all that stuff. But so let's read on. So Byron says, we were not better off. I mean, Hakeem Jeffrey said, we were not better off when a young boy named Emmett Till could be brutally murdered without consequence because of Jim Crow. All right, Biden-Harris campaign spokesperson Serafina Shatika also slammed Donald's remarks that the Philadelphia event. In a statement, Donald Trump spent his adult life and then his presidency undermining the progress black communities fought so hard for. There's no evidence of that. There's no evidence of that. I mean, they tried to find it. They tried to say that they got it, and they don't have it. There's no evidence of that at all. But you know, they can say it because people hear that, and you know what, that sounds about right. That is a white billionaire. It sounds right that he is racist. Okay, and they don't do any research. They don't go try to find out if it's true. They don't question. They just, you know what, you right. And they know people think like that, and that's why they make these statements. So she moves on to say, so it actually tracks that his campaign's black outreach is going to a white neighborhood and promising to take America back to Jim Crow. There's no evidence that Donald Trump said he's going to take America back to Jim Crow. There's none. Okay? First Step Act, opportunity zones, more HBCU money. He reached out to Ice Cube. No, he reached out to Ice Cube and said, hey, if you want to do this plan that you were trying to do with Biden and Harris, let me know. Biden and Harris never called Ice Cube back. Ice Cube was trying to do a $300 million or $1 billion plan for the black community. Now, I actually don't think it's actually good to put government money towards one race. I mean, what's best for the country is what's best for black America. Okay, so that is the ultimate problem with the way black Americans and the black community, quote unquote, thinks about America. Well, we need our own, and what they're getting at, I get it. What they're getting at is 40 acres and a mule. Did we get the 40 acres and a mule? And there's an actual argument. I give the argument to some of the black activists and the Keem Jeffries of the world and Cori Bushes and AOCs and AOC. She's not really in there, but Auntie Maxine Waters and who else is Reverend Al, Al Sharpton, Roland Martin. I give Joyce Reed. I give the argument to them about the 40 acres and a mule, okay? Because if you got generational wealth, a lot of that has to do with the property that's in your family. Like you having acres and acres. Like if you got like 100 acres in the family for generations, and you're actually profiting off that, that does a lot for your generational wealth. It does. So there is the only argument that I will let them have. Okay. All right. So it says Donald's. So let's go. You know, I want to play. What did Donald's say? Donald's responded back to it. So let's play what he said. Let me see. Let me start this back. Yeah, so he had a response.
America, Joe Biden's campaign is lying to you once again, and they're gaslighting. Now they're trying to say that I said black people were doing better under Jim Crow. I never said that. They are lying. But why would you be surprised? Because they always lie. This is the same Joe Biden that said, if you don't vote for him, then you ain't black. The man is a liar. Sorry, just call it what it is. What I said is that you had more black families under Jim Crow. And it was the Democrat policies under HEW, under the welfare state, that did help to destroy the black family. That's what I said. And I also said you're seeing a reinvigoration of black families today in America. And that is a good thing. So don't listen to the lies from the Biden administration. I know what I said, and I'll say it straight to camera. They got to run to the Philadelphia Inquirer to move their lies. Joe Biden does not care about black people. He never has. He cares about power. First, second, and third. They can go somewhere with all that.
Thank God she's polite.
The Civil Rights Act took the thought of having a father in the home away from a lot of women. So you take the father out the home, the family goes down. Generational wealth is all messed up. Poverty happens. Crime happens. Drugs happen. Single motherhood happens. So the Civil Rights Act took it took the father out the home. That's what happened. The social programs made it to where, well, we don't have to take care of our own business. We don't have to take care of ourselves. Put more emphasis on taking care of ourselves. Now, the issue is that I'm trying to figure out is the social programs are there, right? So why don't because the black community is black America is low on like every statistic you can find. Health, finance, education, we down there. All right. What is wrong? What has happened to the mindset? Is money and the social programs that are and the money that's in the social programs is that really that important that it has destroyed the mindset and the culture of black community, black America, to the point to where we are the lowest in all the statistics when it comes to financials, earning salaries and families and household, home ownership, health, like who has the highest cholesterol, heart disease, education numbers, testing, graduation rate, dropout rates. But when it comes to music, sports, we number one. When it comes to those things, and an argument can be made that black people lead in every category of the industry, right? Movies, best actors, best actresses. Now that could be construed because Tubi Oh my gosh. These movies that are on Tubi, this has some black actors and actresses on it that used to be on some real big movies. And I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to them. Like Marcus Houston, he was on what was that movie he was on? You Got Served, or one of those dancing movies. But he was on a couple other movies, and it was like in theaters. Now it's on Tubi, and now I know the streaming world is different now. That's why I'm doing internet radio instead of terrestrial, because it's more accessible to people. In my opinion, people have more phones than they do cars. Now, the only time that I listen to terrestrial radio is when I get in my truck, and I actually like the Eagle 96.9. That's the only one that I actually like. It fits my values. I like listening to the Jake Merrick, and not every show that I like on there. They took Mike Gallagher off. And Mike Gallagher, he comes on from 8 a.m. to 11, and they took him off. So I don't like listening to Brian Kilmeade, but I do like listening to the LJeh show, and I hope you do too. So Byron Donalds is just another black conservative that's taking heat from being a black conservative. That's all he is. I mean, the world of a black conservative is a hard life, man. It is, and if you are not about that life, then you're gonna have a hard time, because the world doesn't they don't like what the world does not like what it does not understand. The world does not like what it does not understand. The world does not understand the thought of a black person, more specifically a black man thinking outside the box. This is why Kamala Harris said that to Charlamagne the God, the fraud. That's why she said, don't be thinking like no Republican. That's why Joe Biden said, if you don't know who you need to vote for, me or Trump, you're not black.
No, it wasn't excellent at all.
It wasn't. But it's because thinking outside the box is like, get back and change. Get back and start picking at cotton. That's what it is. The people don't mean, I'm not thinking outside the box, but people that don't like you thinking outside the box, that's what they want you to do. No, you need to get back in line. You need to go follow. You need to get back in the herd of the sheep. No, I'm not doing that. I give glory and praise to someone that's part of the Trinity, that came and lived out the old Mosaic law, and the Torah, and they wanted to kill him, Jesus Christ. They wanted to kill him because he was an outcast. He thought outside the box. Okay? And that's what we are called to do. We are not called to be comfortable. I am not. All Christians, we are not called to be comfortable. So I love thinking outside the box, and I wish more people would do it. I do. I wish more people would do it. Anyway, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of the way for Ontario Richard show coming up at 9 a.m. This has been the LJ Johnson Morning Show. Tomorrow, we got Jordan Rollinson, Turning Points USA staff member, coming on tomorrow. Don't forget, 2 p.m. today is our launch for the Oklahoma Artist Spotlight. You don't want to miss it. Caleb Collins has a brand new song out. We're going to be debuting his new song at 2 p.m. right here on Jam on KC86 Radio. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. This has been the LJ Johnson Morning Show.
It's an AJ show.